All right, Jason Rona back here in the JConcepts garage for another vlog episode. This time we got a couple special guests here in the garage. We got Ryan Maifield's winning cars from the Mugen Challenge. And normally, when you see these cars, they're all clean and they're made up for photos and good to go from an appearance standpoint. But these are straight off the track. We thought that it would be a little different and a little fun to bring them in here straight off the track to kind of get an idea of what they really look like after a race. And we'll talk about the race a little bit, but the Truggy main was a 25-minute main, and the buggy main was 45 minutes. So you can see even in a shorter time period, the Truggy is just as dirty as the buggy. But we started the weekend. We got there to the Mugen Challenge there in Oakland Mills, Pennsylvania. That's where LCRC Raceway is, and we fly into Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Then we drive over to Oakland Mills, and it was a great weekend. Had a record entry count out there. I believe it was 488 entries, and that ranged from all the buggy classes, all the Truggy, all the different types of classes that they offered, the 40 plus and everything else. But we got there, we set up, we got a practice day in. The weather was great the whole time. We never actually encountered any rain during the race itself, so the racing went extremely well. And even with the big entry count, they were able to get the 2 rounds of qualifying all done on Saturday. So we got out of there about a little later at night, about 10 o'clock, and we finished up late. It was real dusty because things get dustier at night, and the way the lights shine, it always looks even dustier at night. But so we finished up the qualifying there. Ryan was able to TQ all 3 classes. He TQ'd the Nitro Buggy, Nitro Truggy, and then the E-Buggy class. So did the 3 class sweep in qualifying, and then of course the guys start about the second round of qualifying, start to work on the cars for the main events. Go through the drivetrain, go through the engine, the clutch, refresh different things, make sure they're really up to operating performance for the longer main events on Sunday. So then you come in on Sunday, you finish your little things that you needed to do to catch up with the different work and what classes are up first. The Truggy main happened to be up first. So it was really in the heat of the day. It was really hot out there, and it was a tight battle with Ryan. Even Spencer got involved there at the end, and Spencer kind of tracked him down and was running in contention, but had an issue, malfunction. He was out, so Ryan kind of cruised in for the victory. But we went out with the Aqua compound, the Reflex Truggy tires, which not a lot of drivers are super familiar with our Aqua compound, which we're running alongside of our R2 compound, which is the first step into our long wear or our medium type feel compound. So we're sticking with the Aqua here on the Truggy and on the Reflexes, and you can see looking this thing over, they wore very well. The track was probably the hottest of the day during the Truggy main. They were on the throttle for the entire time. I know Ryan mentioned that he could feel during a couple of the stints during the race that the thing was going to come in really hot in the pits, and he tried to make sure to have kind of a cool down lap before he came into the pits, so the thing would run and idle well because it was just so hot out there, and get a good pit stop. So he did. He had the Drake in the pits for Truggy because Adam wasn't running the truck class, so he got a great pit stop each time and smoothed in and out, and I was able to kind of take that one wire to wire. But you can see, during the race, it gets dusty out there, of course. We talked about that. But then, how the fuel comes off, and then just how it gets all over the vehicle. So you can see really how important the maintenance is of these vehicles ahead of time. And then after, keeping these things so they work really mechanically correct, during a big race. So you can see how the dirt, the grime, the dust really gets in everywhere. And that's why it's important to do a complete tear down afterwards. And we were lucky that Ryan kind of let us keep these things for a little while, kind of show what they look like afterwards. But this thing performing on the track looked fantastic, even when it was in this dirty condition. So the things were functioning properly, and the Truggy was working awesome. Of course, we're using the finisher body, which we've used for many years now. This one on the MBX8T, and the new F2I rear wing, which not many people know. The F2I, the I stands for IFMAR, which means that it's an IFMAR legal side dam. So that was a thing that we came up with several years ago. We were at the Worlds, and IFMAR decided that they were going to regulate that you had to be able to put a certain size decal on the side dam of the wing. So when we did a new wing, we put the F2I on it because we're saying this is IFMAR legal. So that's what that's all about. Of course, the mono Truggy wheels and the reflex tires and the Dirt Tech inserts inside. So held up really well, and the Truggy main was a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, really hot during that part of the day. So the engines, everything was really put to the test, and I think we kind of chose really well on the tire and compound there, and of course Ryan didn't make any mistakes for the whole main, so he was good to go. Then we moved into the Nitro Buggy main, which was probably the hardest and the closest race of the weekend out there between Ryan and Cole Ogden. They really put on a show, and Ryan kind of had a nice little lead. Cole caught up to him and was really trying to get up front and make it stick. And every time he did make a move and get up front, it seemed like Ryan would take it up a notch, and he wasn't going anywhere in that race. And he would stick right behind Cole. Cole would make a little mistake. Ryan would get by, and ultimately I think Ryan made fewer mistakes in the race, and that's kind of what made the difference. But it was a 45-minute event, and the track was they blew it off before the main. So Ryan looked at the track and he said, I'm going to go with Detox, even though I qualified on the Stalker tire. I'm going to go with Detox because they're going to blow it off. It's going to be really clean. And he went again with the Aqua compound. And what we found, I think, is the Detox was a really good tire, but it was just very neutral. It was easy to drive for him. I think that's partly what contributed to him not making a lot of mistakes in the main, as the car was real balanced, real forgiving, and you can see that the tires actually got a decent amount of wear on them. Especially it's coming from on the back section of the track. There was a big left-hander where you're really on the throttle, and I think the tires that's where the majority of the wear was. So you came off the straightaway, and then there was the big left-hander on the backside that I think was really accounted for a lot of the wear. But that was a good thing about the Detox, is they wear like iron in those conditions, and you can always rely on those tires having tread at the very end. And I thought it was a good choice for Ryan to run the Detox, because I thought that it made it forgiving. It probably wasn't the fastest tire he could have ran from us, but I thought it was the one that was probably right, given the track was starting to develop some holes. And then after about 30 minutes, it really got rocky and dusty. And you had to have some control in those situations, and it benefited in the end. So he ended up taking the win there, and Cole got second. Obviously well-deserved. He really pushed him hard and ran a great race of his own, and they were really complimentary of each other after the race, and it was nice and clean, and they had a good battle. So as usual, this is the Mugen MBX8, of course. Went with the S15 body, so this is the one we've been running for since the Worlds in Australia. We've been running this S15. I think it's probably our best looking 8-scale body that we've ever made, and it's definitely been a performer too. It's one that everybody's reaching for all the different cars. So I think the S15 is definitely working well. Of course, we went with the Detox tires like we talked about. Went with the Aqua compound, the Dirt Tech inserts, the mono wheels, and then again the F2I wing, which has been going really well since Nitro Challenge. We started running this at Nitro Challenge this year, and Dakota Fenn's been running it the whole time. And obviously he had a big dominating performance at the Wicked Weekend. Then he won two of three at PMB. So between Dakota and Maifield at those last 3 events, they've won. You got Ryan with three wins there at the Mugen Challenge. We got Dakota with 2 at Wicked Weekend. And then Dakota took another 2 at PMB. So we got a big 7 wins there in the pro classes. From those 3 big events that we've traveled to here recently, and it's been really good. A testament to those guys driving, mechanical ability, getting the cars on the track, and being fast over and over again, no matter what the conditions are. So it was really good to see. Then we got into E-Buggy. The temperature was changing. Things were rapidly changing. Everyone started seeing some weather starting to come in. Everybody was getting a little panicky about getting packed up, getting out of there for the weekend. And, at the last minute, Ryan kind of went through his bag of tricks there, pulled out some stalkers, and he threw them on. And it was just one single main. And he thought, if the track's going to be dusty, they said they weren't going to blow it off because they were rushing to get through before the weather. He's like, I'm going to go with a tire a little more spread out. Went with the stalkers. And ended up taking the win in that one too. So Lutz ran him well, ran him hard. Ryan Lutz put on a great charge, a great race. Was jumping the back section a couple times. Not many people were doing that. He had a ton of acceleration. He was able to, kind of going for it, trying to take a win. He was jumping the back section, but Ryan stayed to his game plan. Only made one mistake. He had a little hop in the center, come down the straightaway. A couple rollers, and he bounced and landed in the other lane. Otherwise, he would have had a little bigger lead, but he handled it well, got back in the lane, and just kind of maintained about that 2 to 3 second cushion over Ryan Lutz, and took the 3rd win of the day. So I think it was a great performance overall. And on the E-Buggy, of course, he went with, we talked about the Stalkers tires, of course, the mono wheels, same wing, F2i, and then the body program, which he had switched back and forth between the night bodies, which has an all-white rear section, and then the daytime with the blue. So kind of a fun weekend. Got to mix around with a couple different tires, not as many as we did at Wicked Weekend, but we're a little bit in the harder range of tires out there, and had a good overall weekend. Like to thank for sure Kevin, Krista there, and the whole crew at LCRC for putting on such a big and a great event. Plenty of great pit area we had, great access to the track. Guys got good practice, so I didn't hear any negative complaints the whole time we were there. And I believe they have a cancer funding type of an event coming up. The Race Against Cancer, I think it's called, and they got that coming up soon, is on their calendar. And I'm expecting another, probably a 250, 300 entry event for that one. So that just goes to show you, when you're doing things right, people like what you're doing, they're going to keep coming back for all those different events. So we really appreciate you joining us here on the JConcepts Garage, another vlog episode. I wanted to take this opportunity to go over Ryan's winning cars. It's not too often that we have them here straight off the track. You get to see what these things really look like after a race, which they don't look near as pretty as they do when they're prepped and brand new, ready to go for a main event or something. But this is the true look and what they look like after a great race. No matter what kind of driving you do, this is how they look. And like I said, this Truggy never even crashed during the race, and this buggy probably only had, I don't even know if it was on its lid, I think maybe 2 spin arounds. So this is how they look. Enjoy them, and thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.